Hello, everybody, and welcome to Breaking Ponies, a show with a bigger tonal shift than From Dusk Till Dawn.
Yes, hello everyone.
So, we get to start on Season 2 today.
Yes,
Yay!
season 2. Yay, finally
Which,
made it through season 1.
yes, which is the introduction of Discord, which is a very, very popular character.
Oh yeah,
And,
mostly because he's voiced by a very, very popular actor.
yes, John Delancey. He was Q on the Star Trek shows and movies. Was he in any of the movies?
No, he wasn't in the movies.
That's a...
Just in the shows. He was in Next Generation, Deep Space Nine, one episode, and occasionally in Voyager.
And of course, I can see why he was so popular because
Hmm.
this character is amazing.
He's just fun to watch. I mean, the whole idea of Discord, I mean, he was based on Q from Star Trek. Anyway, that was kind of the original sort of concept for the character, kind of mischievous, sort of, just playing around using magic all over the place. And that was the original conception for the character. And when sort of John Delancey said, yeah, okay, you know what, I'll do the voice acting, because he's moved into voice acting quite a bit as well. He does normal acting still, but he has sort of moved into voice acting as well, because he's done a couple of video games and stuff. So when they got him to sort of agree to come on board, it sort of completed the character, as it were. And I think it does complete the character. It's hard to think of anyone else who could probably do that voice.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, because, well, Discord is a lot more actively malicious than I think Q was. Q was just kind of into it for self-interest and...
He was just in it for a bit of fun.
Yeah, because he's like this immortal
bored.
being that, yeah, he's bored. But Discord actually seems to be out for personal gain. He doesn't really want to make things entertaining for himself, although that is part of it. He also seems to be interested in just screwing things up for other people.
Yeah, I think it just comes from the fact that because he's kind of the embodiment of Discord, he doesn't want things to be normal because he finds them boring.
Which is certainly a way to look at things. And we start off the episode with things just aren't quite working correctly. We got Chocolate Rain, which you didn't understand the reference I made during the episode.
Now, I see. I don't get a lot of references and stuff because I tend to hang around on the fringes of the internet. I sort of look over the fence every once in a while and think, oh, what are they doing? Oh, they're being weird again. Oh, okay, I'll leave it to it. So I don't get every single reference that is going to be put into this. But I mean, I know some of them.
I wonder if that actually was literally a Chocolate Rain reference.
I don't know. To be perfectly honest, you could argue that it was, you could argue that it wasn't. I don't know if there's really enough evidence. There's no song associated with it, so
No,
you could argue
and they don't actually say the term Chocolate Rain, because that would
They call it chocolate. What they call it, chocolate milk rain.
Chocolate milk rain, which is, what else are you going to call it? It is literally chocolate milk raining out of cotton candy clouds, which is a very certainly an interesting idea.
Well, it's random, and that's what he
Well,
likes.
it's what people imagine clouds would be made of, except these are actually pink.
Yes, Pinkie Pie loves them.
Oh, of course. Who wouldn't? I wanted to try that. I wanted to try chocolate milk with cotton candy in it.
Oh God, that sounds horrible. Your teeth would just fall out your face. They just sort of dissolve. Ugh.
And of course, you also got popcorn hail and the giant apples, which really impresses Applejack. They discover, wait, things aren't quite working correctly, so
this is not
normal even for Equestria. Yes. So they go over and they talk to Celestia, who somehow lost the elements of harmony.
Well, she didn't really lose them. They were locked in a seemingly impregnable vault, but Discord got in there anyway, and he managed to steal the elements of harmony, apparently.
I mean, starting off the episode, they had them showing off of the statues, everything in the garden, the big labyrinth. I'm like, why would they keep Discord, even as a statue, out in the middle of where anybody could get to him?
I don't know, really. That's never really explained. I guess he's just kind of there. Maybe Celestia didn't know what to do with him. Maybe she thought that he was dead or just gone forever and there was no chance of him coming back. So she thought, well, I've got this statue. I might as well do something with it. Or maybe it was a case of she wanted to keep it somewhere where she knew it would be noticed if something did go wrong. So, keeping it in a public place, someone's going to notice if a statue's gone missing.
Anyway, the main six, they're tormented by Discord, who tells them that they need to find the elements of harmony to stop him. So he's telling them how to defeat him while trying to stop them from defeating him. So again, I'm not going to try to make sense of what he's doing, because he's trying to have some fun with them.
Yeah, he's messing with them. I mean, that's why he tells them a riddle rather than outright telling them where the elements are.
Or just not telling them anything.
Yeah, exactly, because he thinks it's more fun, and I suppose technically it is. Again, don't try to make sense of what his character does. You can't. That's half the point of the character, which I know is a complete get out of jail-free card
Yeah, I mean,
type thing, but
so yeah,
I'm gonna fucking use it, okay?
they put it together that the elements of harmony have to be inside the maze because yeah, he talks about twists and turns that they have to make. So
Yeah.
they go into the maze and he's like, okay, if you want to play my game, you have to play my game my way. You have to all participate in the game at once, but you can't stick together. You have to be separated. So he separates them obviously so that he can pick them off one by one. And he goes around pestering each of them and turning their own personal elements against them, which was creative, I guess.
Well, yeah, it's the idea that, he's sort of tearing them down. He's destroying what makes them them, which what powers the elements. Like Applejack is honesty, so he
Yeah, Applejack is
turns
honesty,
her
so he
into a
starts turning into a liar. So her element becomes deceit, I suppose.
yeah. It
So
just
the first one he encounters is it was Applejack,
it
wasn't it?
was Applejack.
Yeah. Then he
Did you make the
encounters
apple joke?
right. Where she's being tormented by these like
Apple
apple
faces.
poltergeists things. They're like these piles of apples that are talking, and I was like, I think they have malice intent,
Yeah.
and you
And
didn't get you didn't get it.
I didn't get it because I've never heard the Latin for apple is what was it?
Malus, Malus.
There you go. I had never heard that before. Just one of the many things that I don't know, but now I do, and you learn something every day. So yeah, I didn't get that when you said that, Joe. I mean, it was one of the interesting things that this episode was so interesting and engaging.
Yeah,
Usually, what
we
we
didn't
do
even
is
take notes. We weren't talking that much because yeah, I really liked both of these episodes. These were both really good.
yeah, all we really did was just make the occasional pun or quip as we were talking to each other. So we didn't make that many notes or talk about it too much. About the only thing I said is to remember the fact that Discord has trouble with
Yeah,
Fluttershy.
he has trouble corrupting her kindness because she is, I guess, it is so ingrained into her personality. She's just such a nice person, Pony, that
Pony.
she's very difficult to corrupt. He tried to be subtle, but it wasn't working. So it's just fine. Tap, you're cruel now.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of cheating, I suppose. But yeah, all I will say is try to keep that in mind for future reference.
Right.
I'm not going to say why, obviously. Yeah, his difficulty with Fluttershy, that kind of comes back later on. Sort of. You'll understand when you see it.
So he ends up corrupting Rarity, who makes her think that this giant boulder is a massive diamond.
She calls it Tom.
Yeah,
I
she
love
calls
that.
it Tom, which is okay.
Just
I guess it has
because.
to have a name. So.
Oh yeah, well if you're gonna have
Tom
a
is as
giant,
good as anything else.
yeah, Tom. Tom seems a bit normal though for a name, doesn't it? It's like yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
That's
it's no
just because
Aloysius or
or Rarity or something like that.
or
Anyway,
what was her cat's name?
oh Christ, yeah,
I'm sure it's something pretentious.
it is, and oh God, you've completely freaking blocked my brain now.
Or should I say pretentious? Because
Oh, be quiet. Continue with the episode. I want to think of this cat's name.
then she ends up corrupting Pinkie Pie, who turns her from laughter into melancholy.
I don't
We
really
were
know.
having trouble figuring out exactly what the opposite of laughter would be.
I want to say she's kind of just
She's just
upset
brooding.
about
She's
everything.
brooding.
Yeah.
She's mopey and everything. I expected her hair to deflate like it did before, but that would
Oh,
that would have been a good
that's it.
callback.
That's it. Opalescent.
Oh, yeah, exactly. There we go.
That's the name of the cat. Opalescence.
Yes,
Or
exactly.
Opal,
Something
sure.
pretentious. I knew it.
Well, most of the time they just call her Opal,
Right.
which is a slightly more normal name.
Which
You know,
again, it's a
you could
gem.
understand calling
It's
it.
a gem name though. So
It's a gem. It's a gem. Well, that's Rarity's thing, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a gem.
Yeah. So basically, corrupts all the main six except Twilight.
And the final one that he does end up corrupting is Rainbow Dash, who is her element is supposed to be loyalty, I suppose, or teamwork.
Yeah, it's kind of loyalty. I think is the actual word they use. So of course he makes.
So he
it...
tricks her into saying, "Well, Cloudsdale is going to be destroyed, but you can go save it now if you take your wings out of this box and leave." Which she does, which was selfish in her own right, but by doing that, she ended up basically destroying the deal they had, where they all had to participate together.
Yeah.
So when she leaves, this is pretty much all on her. This is all her fault.
Well, yes and no. I mean, it is worth mentioning that she was corrupted by Discord at that exact moment. She'd been hypnotized into thinking something was happening when it really wasn't. And besides, the whole thing with the maze and everything was a trick anyway. So it was all really just an opportunity for Discord to start corrupting them and ultimately lead to destroying the elements of harmony.
Yeah, because he does reveal that he never said that the
plan.
elements of harmony were in the maze. He just
Yeah.
let them think that they were.
Of course, which is what all good villains do,
Of course.
So things kind of go from bad to worse,
Yes,
obviously.
where the only one who is still not corrupted is Twilight. and her power is magic, so I don't know how that would be corrupted, but he
Well,
found a way. Her power,
it,
well, her power is friendship.
her power is sort of magic and friendship,
Well,
depending on
because
which way you
friendship
want
is
to look at it.
magic.
Exactly.
So the
So,
only
you
way
know,
to
her
corrupt
element is
that
kind
is to remove her friends, which is exactly what Discord was doing. So the episodes are very well written in that sense, where there's this sense of bigness to it, but it's also still very personal story, which I really like.
Yeah, it's a bit different from the two-part opening at the beginning of the first season, right back at the beginning. You
Yeah,
remember
it seemed to be a bit more. These episodes moved really quickly. They seemed to be very quickly paced. The first season premiere seemed to be a bit had a bit more padding, I think.
Well, I mean, it had more padding in the sense that they still needed to introduce the characters back then.
Yeah.
You know, in this one, the characters, they're already established. You know who they are. So in this one, it's not so much about establishing the character roles. It's about the characters coming up against this obstacle and then fighting through the sort of adversity, as it were.
Right.
And then, you know, having their characters torn apart and then put back together again. So yeah, it's kind of like it moves quicker because they can just jump straight into the action. You know who the characters are and you can just enjoy the episode.
Right. And so, of course, as each of the characters are corrupted, the color starts to drain out of them. And as they get more corrupted, it drains even more, which
Yeah.
was a very simple but actually rather ominous way of doing it.
Yeah, I mean, by the time it's finished, they look like they're from a black and white movie or something.
Right. And it looked almost like they were going to be turning to stone if they went one step further. It's almost like the slow numb effect in a Final Fantasy game.
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah, I could understand that. But I mean, it
The
doesn't
second
go that
episode
far.
seemed a bit more padded, where they're trying to stand up to Discord, but it doesn't work because none of them are really believing in their element anymore. I mean, Twilight kind of out of nowhere just finds the elements in her house, which they never really explained how they got there from. I mean, I would imagine it's just Discord put them there, but why would he give them the thing that could
I
defeat
think
him?
it was all part of his plan. I mean, despite the fact he's Discord, he's actually got a reasonably well laid plan set out. Separating them in the maze, corrupting them, destroying their friendship and relationship, and all that stuff. And then he gave them the elements because at that point he knew that they couldn't use them. So he's like, yeah, have them. I don't care. You
Well,
can't do
why?
anything.
But even then, why take that risk? Why not just get rid of the elements or take them to the
Because
six?
he's the bad guy, and bad guys have to make stupid decisions, or the good guys can't win. It's one of those things where suspension of disbelief because of, you know, good guys have to win type writing, isn't it? Because, I mean, you know, if he got rid of the elements then completely, then how could they have won?
Then you'd have an even bigger obstacle for them to overcome. Maybe they'd
Yeah,
find out the elements were inside of us the whole time. We didn't need it. We got it out of a Cracker Jack box.
Shut up.
I wouldn't be surprised if they ended up doing something like that if he had just thrown them away.
Well, I don't know. Maybe that was one possibility they could have worked with, but they wanted to keep the elements around. So, because, you know, they're accessories.
Right.
I don't know. I'm guessing.
So yeah,
But
with Rainbow Dash out of the picture, she goes up to Spike. He's like, "Here, you get to be Rainbow Dash now. You get to be the element of teamwork,
I like his
loyalty."
reaction to that. It's just like, if Rainbow Dashes finds out I was impersonating her, that won't end well. Spike's great. Yeah, so after the sort of failed attempt to defeat Discord, they all sort of get yelling at each other. They all sort of storm off because Discord's corrupted them so much.
And they're all
Completely
being jerks, and
destroying
then Twilight's like, "I don't need this in my life. I'm leaving," and that's when her power starts to fail her.
Yeah, and that's when she goes grey. She sort of goes back to her house, and Spike's there kind of throwing up on the floor because Celestia's
Yeah,
mailing
Celestia's
down.
sending back all the scrolls that she sent as reports about friendship. And as Spike is like writhing in agony, I'm just getting all these flashbacks of all the time I've been sick. Like, oh god, I know exactly what you're going through, Spike. It's not fun.
It's not exactly the most pleasant form of mail transfer. I mean, seriously.
Yeah.
But yeah, it sort of works out in the end. She kind of rereads her old reports, and it
And of
reminds
course
her.
we get a callback to all the previous episodes in the first season, which is a nice callback, like seeing all these clips from them and things that happened. So if you had been watching the show up to that point, you'll recognize what all these are in reference to, which is a nice touch.
Yeah.
So that just gives her the confidence. Damn it, I'm going to stop this guy. So she goes out and pretty much the opposite of what Discord did. She went out and started reminding everybody about why they have their magic and why they're friends with her and what their power is. So
Yeah.
she gets them back in I think the same order that they were originally corrupted, wasn't it? She does Applejack first.
Yeah, Applejack first. Who did she do second? No, didn't she do Fluttershy second? And Fluttershy was like before Rainbow Dash. Dash?
I don't really remember because I know Rainbow Dash.
I wasn't paying that much attention when I was watching it. But Rainbow Dash was last. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it was in the right
Yeah,
order.
they end up getting Rainbow Dash back, which is again was kind of a padded out segment where they end up in this chase sequence with her on a cloud, and they're chasing her in her balloon, pulled by Fluttershy because he's the only other one with wings, which is
Yeah.
very surreal kind of situation where you have a Pegasus pulling a hot air balloon, chasing another Pegasus riding on a cloud. So why does she need a cloud? She's a Pegasus, but whatever.
Yeah, I mean, it's a magical show full of ponies. How surreal do you think it's going to end up getting in the
That
end?
can't be your answer to everything.
It can be, believe me. I've seen every episode of this show, and you have no idea of some of the shit we are going to be going through between now and then. Okay?
Oh,
Trust me. Look, it was about 4 weeks ago now. I watched the 100th episode special. I am still trying to put that fucker together in my head. Okay? So do not even start on me. Okay? You have not seen what I have seen.
I've seen some shit.
Yeah, I really have. Believe me. It's ironic that the other show we're talking about is drugs, because when you watch Ponies, you feel like you've been smoking them sometimes, you know?
Or need to smoke some in order to understand what the hell's going on.
Yes, trust me.
So yeah, they get Rainbow Dash back and they go off to square off against Discord once again. And it works out this time. They use their powers very Captain Planet style
Taste the
and hit him
rainbow.
with a rainbow because taste the rainbow, motherfucker.
Yeah, we made this joke back during the first episode, so
We got our own callback to the first season. There you go.
Yay! Yeah, well, it all goes round in circles.
And Discord is turned to stone because he totally didn't see this coming, which is like, really?
Yeah, I know. He was so confident he'd already won, which again, I suppose comes down to his character a bit. You know, he thought he'd won, so you know why bother? And he gets turned to stone again, which is rather surprising. But hey ho.
Well, I'm sure we'll never see him again because he totally didn't get out of it the last time.
Maybe we will. Maybe we won't.
I know we will because I've seen the other episode with him in it.
Have you? Which one?
It was the one right before the Weird Al episode.
Which one was that?
Where he like tries to make up for what he's done.
Oh,
I'm
right.
sure we'll get into that long in the future.
Well, the Weird Al was season 4.
Yeah,
so
4.
We got a while.
As I mentioned, the first episode was the very first one I saw. So
yeah.
So I guess that does it for these 2 episodes. I really liked them. This was a great start to season 2.
Yeah, I mean, season 1 was a little cliche. Season 2 is where they really start getting into their stride. They got some good episodes coming in this season. To be honest, if you look at sort of the end of season 1, sort of the last 4 or 5 episodes in season 1 were all sort of really, really good.
Yeah, I liked those as well. I really liked those.
So
they started to kind of challenge what each of the characters. They didn't really face any challenges in the first half. They just kind of
it was all a bit too easy, wasn't it?
Yeah, but then they actually start facing character-based challenges, which is good.
Which is always good. Yeah, so we got some really good episodes to come along and some memorable stuff to happen. So season 2 is going to be a good one, definitely.
So yeah,
anyway,
looking forward to it, and I guess that brings us forward to Breaking Bad.
Breaking Bad, definitely. Today's episode was, well, it started weird. I mean, you go on about how frigging weird My Little Pony is. The start of this episode was a genuine what the fuck is going on moment for me. It started with a music video. I think it was a music video.
Yeah, it's a music video.
Which was a little inconvenient for me because they were talking in Spanish. And for some reason, the version of the video I was watching didn't have the translation.
Yeah, I figured that the subtitles would be hard-coded into the show because they were on the show when it originally aired. It's on the subtitles on my Netflix, and it's subtitled whenever they're talking to each other in Spanish. If it's something that's pertinent to be understood, it's subtitled, but...
I don't know, but the version I watched did not have subtitles, which was really, really annoying. But I mean, fortunately, you were able to translate them for me.
Yeah, I was reading it off to him, which was a good thing because it actually does seem to be somewhat relevant to what's happening in the show.
Yeah, it's like those flash forwards you get at the beginning of the shows. It was telling you stuff that's gonna happen.
Right.
Like it seemed to be predicting Walter's death, I think, at one point.
It's called foreshadowing.
Yeah, foreshadowing. God, they do so much bloody foreshadowing. It's surprising you can see the episodes at all. So we start off with the music video. The name of the episode, which is Negro y Azul,
yes.
which is apparently black. Did I say that right?
Yeah,
I don't speak Spanish, so you'll have to
I
forgive me on
think
that.
yeah, it means black and blue, which is
Yeah, it means
both
black and blue.
bruises and, or it could mean mystery and meth.
Yeah, it's just weird and just bizarreness. Which, let's be honest, it bloody well was.
Yeah, this episode it had a pretty big tonal shift, I will say.
Well, yeah, which was half the point of our introduction at the beginning of the episode. If anybody gets the reference on that, leave a comment and say, because we want to see if that was too obscure or not. But anyway, so Walter is trying to contact Jesse after the oh so entertaining event he had in the last
Oh
episode.
yeah, you clearly see Jesse is not having any of this shit. He really does not want to talk to Walt right now.
Yeah, so Walter ends up sort of going to his place after sort of trying to call him several times, and Jesse eventually shows up, although only after Jesse's neighbor and landlord, Jane, shows up, and Walter decides to lie and say, I'm his father. It's like, oh, for God's sake, aren't you in enough shit with all the other lies you've already got?
Lies
You
on
really
top
want
of
to add
lies on
another
top of
one on top of
lies.
that? I mean, it just comes to a point where you can't remember what you've lied about and what you're telling the truth
Yeah,
about.
who you've
And
lied
it's
to about one thing or who you've lied to about other things. And
exactly, and it's just he's making his life harder. Anyway, Jesse eventually shows up and lets him in, and they sort of discuss the previous episode where Jesse went to the people's house, the ATM fell on him, all that other stuff goes on.
oh, it's ATM
Jesse,
machine, you see.
what?
It's ATM machine.
No, it's a fucking ATM. Shut up.
Yeah, in
I
the episode, everybody in this thing calls it an ATM machine, which is
yeah, I know it's like redundant, much redundant.
the Department of Redundancy Department.
Yeah, it's something like that. He's a complete wreck. He's smoking God only knows what,
I would
and
imagine marijuana.
yeah, something like that. And he's just, after watching the guy's head go squish, he's kind of lost the will to go on, which I think is
Yeah, you
understandable.
would expect that because this is not the first person that he's killed either.
Jesse?
Well, I guess I
Technically, Jesse hasn't killed anybody. Walter's killed two people.
right, sure. And the other
Walter's
guy just kind of died, but it's not the first death he's witnessed, I suppose.
No, Jesse's sort of been involved in a lot of deaths, although he's never actually gotten his hands dirty before. I suppose that he could argue that he was sort of directly involved in the death of the guy in the last episode, but only kind of by proxy in that sense.
Right.
But yeah, so he's sort of suffering because of that, understandably. Jesse tells him sort of the details about what happened, and Walter's kind of more concerned about the fact that people aren't gonna know it was Jesse who was involved in it. So, he's not gonna have the reputation of someone not to cross. Anyway, while that's going on, you've also got Hank, who's gone to his new job south of the border. You can tell he was kind of nervous. He was sort of laughing and joking and making a bit too many jokes, frankly, while everyone around him was just getting on serious with work and almost completely ignoring him, which was hilarious. Because you can kind of tell he's out of his element there.
Yeah, you were talking about how much of a kind of a sociopath he is enjoying his job. These guys are even worse.
Yeah, these guys are worse, but we'll get to that later.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yes, we will. Walter ends up going to see Jesse's friends, Badger and the other two. I can't remember what the hell they're called. I like it when he rang up earlier in the episodes, like talking about, hey, dude, it's Badger. Dude, don't use your real name. Badger isn't my real name. Which I suppose makes sense. Any parent.
Don't use your real alias.
Yeah, don't use an alias that everyone else uses as well. Anyway, so Walter goes meets with them, and he finds out that actually Jesse has taken sort of the reputation for the death of this guy. He is actually being named as the one who did it, and people are like more than happy to pay up to the guy now because they are actually scared of Jesse. He's actually got himself a street cred reputation.
And the rumor isn't just that he killed him; it's the rumor that he killed him by smashing his head with an ATM.
Yeah,
which is like points
like,
for creativity. I'm not crossing this guy. He sounds insane.
Yeah, exactly. Which is really cool as well. But you have to think Jesse doesn't actually look like the kind of person that can justify a reputation like this. Like, you have to wonder if fantasy and reality are going to crash a bit at some point. But then I suppose Walter has this mythical Heisenberg persona that's growing up as well. Because it didn't...
Which is what the song at the beginning was
yeah, I was
talking
gonna say,
about.
Didn't the song at the beginning say that his stuff has crossed the border?
Yeah, it's sort of becoming a legend in Mexico, and they sing the Ballad of Heisenberg.
So, yeah, a lot of stuff going down for them. They are starting to get a reputation, which I suppose makes sense. I mean... I'm not sure how much time has actually passed in the show, but they've been doing it for a couple of months at least.
Yeah, I'd imagine a few months.
Because it's hard to know exactly, because obviously they don't show every specific day that happened. So, time skipping and all that. But you get the feeling that a couple of months into this has gone on. Let's see. Whilst that is all going on, you've also got Skylar, who's trying to find a job, because obviously since the last episode, she believes that money's going to get tight. So she goes and applies for a job at the place she used to work and uses her old friendship with the now owner of the place to get herself a job. Just a small little receptionist filing type job, which she's quite pleased about. Although I do have to wonder if she's going to regret it at some point, because they mentioned that one time the guy that she now works for grabbed her ass at a party, although she says, oh, he was drunk at the time. And I'm just wondering if there's going to be some dynamic thing going on here. Like, he clearly has like feelings for her. I think that was fairly obvious because whenever the two of them were talking, you could kind of see that.
Yeah, they obviously have a history together. Regardless of whether she reciprocated, she's still going to be encountering him every day. So
Yeah, so it might get a little difficult for her in the future. So that's obviously some little subplot to keep an eye on, probably.
yeah, the show's very good about when they reached their second season or so. They were very good at not introducing subplots that weren't going to go anywhere. It wasn't quite so much like that in the first season. There are certain things that didn't actually come to a head or didn't actually do anything with it.
Yeah, like the Marie
with the
kleptomania thing.
yeah, the kleptomania I think I was going to mention.
Yeah, I did wonder if that was going to show up again or if that was just something they decided to drop. So, I can understand that. I mean, it's also good that they're kind of giving all the characters their own little
Yeah, they're
story.
giving
Like,
all the
you've got
characters
Hank.
kind of their time in the spotlight, which, for better or worse, it helps make sure that they have enough that they can write about in each episode.
Yeah, I mean, it
There's
helps to
enough
fill the
plot
time.
points that can go forward.
Yeah, and all the characters are interesting enough that you do kind of want to know what they're up to. But obviously, Walter and Jesse's dynamic is the main focus of the whole thing. So anyway, yeah, Skylar's got herself a new job. She's sort of setting up. Her subplot is actually quite short. I can summarize that just like that. The other side of things, yeah, also Jesse has this growing reputation. He's also sort of trying to talk a lot to his neighbor and landlord, Jane. He's obviously got sort of feelings for her, and they sort of talk a lot throughout the episode. He eventually comes clean about the fact his name isn't Jesse Jackson. No shit. And the
Well,
fact
it wouldn't necessarily not be Jesse Jackson. It may, because I mean, we did have a character named Michael Bolton in Office Space.
Oh, be quiet.
So this stuff does happen.
Yeah, I know. You get
I was
people
once
who
at
have.
jury duty with a guy named Stephen King.
Well, yeah, but King's quite a common name. Anyway, small advice to parents. If you have a last name that is the same as somebody who's very famous, don't give them the same first name. It's like if your last name is File, don't call your son Peter.
Peter.
Okay? There are some names that just shouldn't happen, But anyway, I'm getting completely off track here.
Oh yeah. Although I don't know how common the last name of File is.
I don't know. It was a joke.
Yeah, I know.
The IT
I've
crowd,
seen that.
which is another great show, by the way, if you haven't watched that. But anyway, Jesse's got this sort of growing feelings for his next door neighbor. And she by the end of the episode, she's kind of slightly reciprocating a little, which I thought was kind of nice. Again, I think I can see why Jesse is such a popular character. You want nice things to happen to this kid, because he's clearly had a lot of crap in his life.
And he's trying to make things work out, but things just aren't cooperating with him.
Yeah, it's one of those things you just sort of have to. You just kind of hope this character ends up coming good by the end of it, don't you? I mean, with Walter destined for the grave by the end of the series coming to a close, because by one way or another this guy's clearly going to die. Yeah. Jesse's the one you've got to root for a positive future for in that sense.
Yeah, which is a great way to put it. Yeah,
it's good to see Jesse. I mean, he sort of splashes out as well, sort of the money he's been getting. He manages to buy himself a giant ass flat screen TV that he mounts on the wall, which I'm surprised he managed to do without breaking the damn thing. So I guess he's pretty handy with a screwdriver and stuff, because I don't think he would have got someone over to fit it for him, would he?
I don't really think it's necessary to wonder that he got it up somehow.
Yeah, he got it up, and so he ends up spending ages while the thing searches for a bloody satellite.
And they're still searching by the end of the episode.
Yeah, he must have the thing going for like 20 minutes or something, searching for a bloody satellite. You just want to yell, "Look up! It's up!"
That's the thing I hate about a lot of this technology, is that it just says waiting. It doesn't give you a progress bar. It doesn't say if there's an error. It's
That's one
just
thing
you
I
have to
always
wait
like.
for it to connect.
Yeah, it's like on video games. You want a progress bar. You want to know how long you've got to wait for the loading to finish. I don't care if it's a bar or if it's like a number percentage or something. Don't just have loading. Give us some indication. Because if you're only loading like one little bit every 10 minutes, we know that we can go off and get a drinks or something. Anyway, what the fuck was I talking about?
Jesse getting his life together.
Yeah, Jesse's getting his life together, so he's sort of potentially hooking up with his neighbor. He's sort of starting to fill his little flat with toys and odds and ends and stuff. I mean,
Doesn't
he's
have a
still
bed
sleeping
yet
in his.
though.
No, he doesn't have a
He just
bed yet.
doesn't
The
have a
t.
bed. He thinks the TV is a much more important investment,
Well,
which is definitely something I would do.
yeah, I would probably do that as well. Well, maybe. I mean, he has a sleeping bag, so it's not like he doesn't have a bed at all.
Right.
No, he doesn't have anything to sleep in. But he says that he's kind of going out of his mind because he's got nothing, so he wants TV to take his mind off things, especially what happened at the house in the previous episode. But other than that, Walter has this brilliant, and I use the word in quotes, idea to expand their operation because he assumes, and he's probably assuming quite wrongly, that Jesse's reputation as a cold-blooded killer is enough for them to start expanding into other people's territory. That's not gonna go well. I'm putting that down in the not going well pile right there.
And
But I
even
mean,
you, who don't really know much about drug deal, knows that this is a bad idea.
yeah, it's like you have your patch, and unless you know for a fact that you can kick the asses of the other people, don't go into other people. I mean, technically, this operation they're running has 5 people in it at the moment. I mean, in the episode, they do talk about expansion. The idea that Jesse's friend Badger and his 2 other friends, who I cannot for the life of me remember the name of.
Skinny Pete and Combo.
Fine, whatever. I don't even want to know how you remember that, but yeah, the idea is Jesse will run those 3, and then those guys will have more people under them in order to expand their operation. That is clever. That is an idea, but I don't know if they're really ready for that yet. They haven't exactly been at this game yet.
And they
And I
haven't even
think
done really their research in who's running these areas around them. They don't know how much power they have or whether they can take it.
Yeah, exactly. And it's just like Walter's kind of got it in his head that Jesse's reputation is somehow gonna let them win. And it's like, this is not gonna work. End of story. This is not going to work. But I suppose that's half the fun of the series.
Yes, you get to see them learn very firsthand that this is not going
Yeah.
to work.
Yeah. So that will be interesting. And the other story that we have going on is, of course, Hanks. And I deliberately left this one for last because, frankly, it's the most entertaining one of the bunch. So Hank's trying to settle into his new job, and he's having a kind of culture shock, I suppose you could call it. He's used to dealing with things one way, and this group he's gotten involved with now clearly do things another way. And how it ends up is that they go to an informant called Tortuga, which is a word I'm sure I've heard before somewhere. I think it was like a place or something from some film or another. Tortuga. Pirates of the Caribbean.
There you
That's
go.
it. Yeah, it was in the Pirates of the Caribbean movies, wasn't it?
You know what
Anyway, so and apparently it means tortoise.
tortoise is literally turtle. I believe turtle. Turtle and
Or
a tortoise. Same thing. It's like,
turtle, tortoise. They're similar creatures. And Hank is like trying to rush this guy on because that's how he's used to dealing with. He's used to being sort of heavy-handed, and they can't be with this guy. But anyway, he's an informant. Some drug deals going down, and when they're staking the place out, Hank happens to spot the guy just down there by himself. And that is, of course, after because Hank can't speak Spanish, presumably just like me, he's never got round to learning it. Like I never got round to learning French because French is a pointless language that shouldn't exist. But
well, if we're to believe Futurama, it'll be a dead language in 1,000 years.
yes, well, I'd like to think so. It's not soon enough, in my opinion. But whatever. Oh God, politically incorrect.
Please send your hate mail to youtube.com/oymon.
Oh yes, please. To be honest, I get so few comments on my videos. I'll take the hate mail, please. But yeah, you don't want to send me too much hate mail because I will rip your ass a new one. You don't want to mess with that. But
I'll drop an ATM on your head.
Yeah, I'll drop an ATM machine on you.
Anyway, moving forward.
Yeah, where the
Moving
fuck was I?
forward
Oh,
at a
yeah.
turtle's pace.
Oh, definitely the Turtles' pace. Yeah, they're sort of mocking Hank a little because he's had this big promotion and like because he hasn't really settled in, he's kind of new to the job, he's new to what's going on. They're kind of unsure if he's really going to be sort of worth their time. But of course, they're mocking him in Spanish, so that's great.
And of course, you don't have subtitles at this point, so you don't
No,
really.
I didn't have subtitles, so you had to translate for me. I don't know what the subtitle thing is, but hopefully that's not going to be a recurring problem. I'm going to have to find subtitles or something. Anyway, so he spots Tortuga, the informant, out in the desert where the meter is supposed to go. And when they race down there to find him and they show up, they just find his severed head riding on the back of, say it with me, people,
A
a tortoise.
tortoise.
Of course. And Hank's reaction, I think, is perfectly understandable. I'm not sure. Was this a reaction just to seeing a guy's severed head? Or was this also part of the whole Tuco shootout thing coming back as well? Because that happened in the last episode and we didn't really get much with that. Or was it the episode before that? I can't remember. But so I'm wondering which side of things it was. But anyway, they're all laughing about it and the fact that Hank's like close to throwing up. So he sort of goes back to the car to sort of lean on it and to sort of hide his shame, I guess. And out of absolutely fucking nowhere, the turtle just explodes. Fucking giant ass explosion. I mean, and like the 6 or 5 guys, however many it was around it, literally just get thrown back. And, you know, the whole thing was clearly a trap. So you have to kind of wonder who the hell are the people who set this up? And is Walter going to be dealing with them soon? Which I can't help but wonder he's going to. Because if the people in Mexico know about Heisenberg, they're going to want to know who the hell this Heisenberg guy is. So things are getting interesting. And so I'm kind of curious to see where that explosion thing goes. I mean, the people who were caught in the explosion really didn't end up very well. I mean, what
Now
the
some
one
of them lost
guy.
limbs, and
Yeah, I mean, the guy who sort of, I suppose you could call him Hank's sort of close partner, the guy whose sort of desk was behind him at work, he had his leg literally blown off down at the knee. So, yeah, that wasn't good. But that was really surprising because you were actually in the middle of saying something when that
yeah.
happened. So I was caught off guard. You were caught off guard, despite the fact you've seen the show before. Did you forget that, or did you know?
I might have been doing redirection. I might have forgotten specifically that that happened at that point, but
Yeah, but anyway, that it was surprising, and it was one hell of a sort of tonal shift for the episode. So a lot of stuff went on in this episode, and you kind of, I think I can sort of see where this perhaps might be going on the horizon. But in a show like this, I don't want to get too specific in what I think might happen because obviously the show could do a 180 at any given time, which is
yeah,
half the fun of
which is
watching the
which is
show.
part of what makes it so great to watch because you never know what's going to happen next. You never
Yeah,
know. It was almost like watching 24. You don't know which character is going to survive the episode sometimes.
yeah, I did like 24. I watched the first season, I was totally hooked, and then I watched the second season, I thought this is shit. So I didn't watch it beyond that.
Because yeah, if Hank hadn't been over leaning at the car, he would have been caught in the explosion as well.
Which I suppose was kind of the point. You know, you kind of do want Hank to survive. He's fun. He's a bit of an asshole, but he's fun.
But he was working with assholes as well, so there, he finally meets his team.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, really good episode. Very surprising with the whole explosion thing and everything. Good episode,
Yeah, so,
and very, very interested to see where the hell it's all gonna end up going. A lot of plot threads now up in the air again. Because I said it sort of in the last episode, they closed down several plot threads, so now they've got a few more up. Yeah, hopefully things will get nice and complicated.
oh
Although not
yes,
too complicated.
it's gonna get much more complicated. It's
Well, I
always
hope not. Yeah, well, as long as they
hopefully
don't.
not too complicated. If we still use
I
the
was gonna say
best
because not too complicated, because I'm the one who's got to freaking describe it, and I have a hard enough time sticking to one track as it is.
well, both of our shows are getting a bit more
Involved.
intense now.
Well, I don't think
There's a lot more things on the line.
Well, again, I don't think Ponies is going to get that more intense. They're still sticking to the one episode at a time format.
You're not gonna have people with their limbs blown off, I hope.
You might find that in certain Pony fan fiction, but not in the actual show. But no, things do get bizarre in some episodes, like really weird.
Well, I'm looking forward to seeing those.
Me too.
I
that's it.
suppose that does it for Breaking Ponies. Thank you, everybody, for listening. Be sure to leave a comment.
Yes, please. Comments, definitely.
And we'll see you folks next time.
See you in the next episode.
Bye-bye.
Bye.